Hey, Renaldo Church, thanks for joining us on this first day on the path to Easter. We're joining across all of our campuses to read the scriptures together as we prepare our hearts and our minds for Easter Day. Have you ever lost one of your kids, or as a kid, were you ever lost? I distinctly have this memory of being lost in a Zayre's department store. Now, Zayre's don't exist anymore. They've gone out of business. But I remember being lost and not really knowing I was lost because I was in the toy aisle. My dad was wandering all over the place trying to find me. And finally, they called my name over the loudspeaker and say, "If Chris Lawson's in here, would you please come to the front desk?" I was like, "Well, I've been right here the whole time." But I went up there. My dad's like, "Where have you been?" I was like, "I was in the toy aisle." Of course, that's where I was supposed to be. There's a similar story of Jesus in the New Testament where he has gone missing and his parents are looking everywhere for him, and they find him in the synagogue. They find him in the temple. They find him teaching the Bible. And when they ask him what he's doing, he says, "I must be about my Father's business." As we look at the Gospel of Luke together over these coming weeks, I want you to keep one thing in mind. There's not one moment in Jesus' life where his eyes, his affection, his attention isn't turned towards Jerusalem. See, for Jesus, even as a young kid, I think he knew. I think he knew that he'd been created for purpose. He'd been created to fulfill God's will on earth to redeem humanity. Even as a young kid, his parents think he's lost, and he says, "I must be about my Father's business." You know, Jesus always had his attention directed towards Jerusalem because Jerusalem was the place that he would enter, fulfilling the prophecy of the Old Testament on Palm Sunday. And over the next week, he would have interactions, and he would have meals, and he would have prayers, and he would fulfill prophecy, and he would be a challenge to the authority. But it always was about one thing: my affection turned towards Jerusalem so that I can be about my Father's business of becoming the Lamb of God that takes away the sins of the world. As you spend these coming weeks together, I want you to notice, both from Romans and from Luke, how acutely focused Jesus was on fulfilling his Father's business in Jerusalem. God bless you guys. Stay with us in these coming weeks. Let's open the Word together and be transformed by Jesus.